that the fourth precept, musawada, is not that straightforward or easy to adhere to, because it's all about the question of morality and the restraint of the mind. It is an important topic, therefore. Many people lie and do not know about it. Many people lie and rationalize and justify it. So as long as you know you lie sometimes, please do not rationalize it and know that you have breached the precept. Okay, so that is already good. Let us move on to the next topic. Why we should avoid lying. Now, since young, our parents have taught us to be honest, to always tell the truth. So most of what is covered in this section should be familiar to you. Now, I'm going to give you 8 reasons why you should not lie and to upset our moral compass. These reasons are all, in fact, interconnected. Number 1, it takes a longer time to lie than to tell the truth, simply because lying takes more time and effort. First of all, the liar must make a conscious decision to not tell the truth, and then construct a lie that is credible, all the while concealing any outward signs in terms of facial expressions and body language that can give the game away. Even a statement is a simple yes or no. There is a whole lot of mental processes involved in telling a lie, but most of the time a lie becomes complicated. Why? Because a lie is not just the simple opposite of truth. A French philosopher, Michel de Montaigne, described a lie very well. He said this: the reverse of truth has 100,000 shapes and a limitless field. One of the greatest problems for the liar is that he must keep track of his lies. When you tell the truth, you have nothing to keep track of. You can pull it out of your mind and reconsider certain facts and openly discuss it, tear it apart, and put it back together without any change to the facts. However, if you lie, you have to remember who you lied to, when you lied, what you lied about, and whether the lie will affect other areas of your life, and if so, in what ways. So much work is involved, and you have to constantly live with the fear and worry of being found out. Why? Because if found out, your credibility is gone. Why should people trust you then? So, in short, lying is just not worth the time and not worth the effort. Number 2, one lie begets another and another, and the pattern continues. The common motivation for lying is to conceal an action that we do not want someone to know about, right? And frequently, of course, the action is a negative one. People don't usually lie to cover a positive act. Now, examples of which are actually shown here. In this case, there are 2 non-virtues, the original action, and then the lie that is told to cover it up. So the more you lie, the more things you have to lie about. And this will snowball until there are very few areas of honesty left in your life. And we have seen from the research conducted by Professor Riley at the University College London that telling even small lies desensitizes our brain to the associated negative emotions. What usually makes up these small lies? Yes, mainly white lies. We see them as exceptions to the rule, but these exceptions we can quickly take root and multiply, and very soon the line between truth and untruth will start to blur, and it becomes difficult to draw a clear distinction between the two. Essentially, small acts of dishonesty can escalate into more significant lies. We will feel less and less guilty or ashamed of our lies, and where there's no remorse, we will lie more easily and more frequently. And as the Buddha pointed out about the mind, our intention, which determines the direction we take, which in turn determines our habits, tendencies, and character as a whole. The third reason, this is very obvious, isn't it? About integrity. Rahula was not the only person the Buddha counseled on the importance of not lying. The Buddha also gave the same discourse to his monks. And he made it clear there is an essential connection between honesty and personal integrity, because honesty is the foundation for all our moral principles. If one goes, so will the other. There are no exceptions. The moment we misinterpret the truth, we become morally challenged, whether or not our lies will ever be discovered. Now, John Huntsman Sr., he's a billionaire and philanthropist, attributed his success all these years to integrity. In his book, Winners Never Cheat, he wrote this: he emphasized the importance of integrity in keeping promises, not compromising on honesty, and not being afraid to tell the truth. Sometimes we fear to tell the truth because it means letting go of certain success, fame, fortune. The truth may destroy our livelihood, tarnish our reputation, and make us lose friends. So telling the truth can require and must require a lot of courage. Now, this quote is from Ajahn Jayasaro, the author of Stillness Flowing. We move on to the next point. Lying destroys sincerity. This usually applies to white lies, which we perceive as well as intentional, tactful, and polite, which is not. For example, showing appreciation for a gift that you do not like. Out of compassion, we also try to encourage or console others with white lies. But precisely because they are lies, these words of encouragement, comfort, and praise cannot be genuine. They will always lack sincerity. The first, as a sign of encouragement, you tell a new employee that his presentation was really impressive when it is not. Are you doing him a service? The next presentation, trust me, will not get any better. Knowing that your friend is struggling with a diet and she's overdoing it, but you do not want to hurt her, you do not want to discourage her when she actually looked haggard. All these untruths spring from good intentions, but there's always an element of deception. Right? When done too often, people can see through your insincerity of your words, and this can destroy your credibility. Telling a person an unpalatable truth is never easy, but it may help to save the other person from embarrassment, disappointment, or even heartache later. If the truth is painful to tell, there are always background truths that are not right, can be communicated. For example, you can say that all people make mistakes. Please do not be hard on yourself to expect perfection. Or you can say, stress on background truth. And in so doing, when you treat others with sincerity, you foster understanding and you improve a relationship between two people. Next, lying betrays trust. Let's say that your friend has a social obligation which she did not want to fulfill. You overhear her making up this excuse to someone on the phone, which you know she does not have one because you are with her. Now, two things will happen. First, it makes you wonder, does it not, whether she has ever lied to you like this in the past. And number two, now whenever she cancels an appointment with you, you will suspect that she might not be telling you the truth. Now, all of us have been asked to keep secrets at one time or other in our life. At the very least, we have to remember what we cannot tell. And it may put us in a position where we are forced to choose lying to keep the secret safe or to tell the truth and betray a confidence. But when someone comes to you and say, "Can I tell you something, but you must promise me not to tell anyone?" Try to say no. Try to siam or tell your friend, "I'm very forgetful, so please better don't tell me." So unless it's a matter of life and death, try to avoid keeping secrets because you can't tell what you do not know, so there is no need to lie. Now, once trust is betrayed, it is very difficult to re-establish. Loss of trust has resulted in broken friendships and divorces. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself this: do you want people to trust you? Do you want to live life with an open, honest communication? The world is not perfect, and the truth is sometimes hard to swallow. But at least with honesty, brothers and sisters, you know that the world you have created around you is as real as it gets. Next. Well, this does not need explanation, right? Treat others how you would like to be treated. Do you like to be lied to be deceived? Let's see what the Buddha says about this, and you can read the next slide on your own. Now, this actually applies to the three other forms of right speech as well. Abstinence from divisive speech, harsh speech, and idle chatter. Before you decide to tell a lie, put yourself in the other person's shoes and ask yourself whether you like to be lied to, even if it is done with good intentions. Next. Why do you think now that Buddha gave such a strict guideline on abstinence from falsehood? It is in the precept, you know. Now, on the night of the Buddha's enlightenment, the Buddha realized three kinds of knowledge, right? One of the knowledges which the Buddha had was the knowledge of beings passing on and reappearing according to their actions. For beings who were ill-conducted in body, speech, and mind, who despised the noble ones, who had wrong views in their lives, and therefore giving effect to these wrong views in their actions, he actually saw them being born in a bad destination, including hell. The opposite was seen for those worthy beings. Now, this quote is about miserliness. People who are stingy and selfish. We are not looking at a good rebirth. So when the Buddha tells us not to tell a lie, even as a joke, he must have very good reasons for doing so. Telling falsehoods, when indulged in, developed and pursued, is something that leads to hell, leads to rebirth as a common animal, leads to the realm of the hungry shades. The slightest of all the results coming from telling falsehoods is that when one becomes a human being, it leads to being falsely accused. Karma. Now, the last reason why we should not lie. We lie because facing the truth can be too hard. We lie to convince ourselves that we are not angry, sad or worried when our feelings tell a different story. We lie to make our lives a little easier, and we lie because we are afraid to take responsibility for our own shortcomings and mistakes. Instead, we rationalize to justify all our actions. We bend, we stretch, twist, and reinterpret the truth to excuse ourselves from our real motivations. Sometimes we rationalize until we are so far away from the truth that we cannot see it anymore. And rationalization has become second nature to many of us. It is quite evident that this self-deception or the ability to rationalize is not confined here, but also underpins all the other factors and increase dishonesty. A lie, whether to ourselves or to others, is a denial of reality. When you get into the habit of lying, you are habitually denying reality, and you become less and less skilled in distinguishing the truth from untruth. Now, the core of the Buddha's teachings is about the Four Noble Truths: to realize suffering, the cause of suffering, and the cessation of suffering as they are. And of course, to practice the Noble Eightfold Path to achieve the first three truths. When you are habitually denying truth, you lack the practice of recognizing truth, and the Buddha's path is all about the practice. And there is no way you can sit down and meditate successfully and then get your insight. Now, people who are habitually lying have a very noisy mind. But in the off chance that you are able to quieten down the mind to see the Dhamma and see the mind, you may think you have an insight when there is not one. And worst, when an insight does come along, you probably will miss it. In short, we keep to the truth when we practice honesty with ourselves and with others. Truth gives us clarity and stability of mind because truth does not muddle the mind. There is no confusion or doubt, and there is less agitation, or because the mind is less engaged and not engaged in telling untrue stories. Truth gives us a calm mind because it represents interior, the freedom from remorse, delusion, and defensiveness. So we have clarity, stability, and calmness of mind, which are all qualities necessary for realizing Dhamma, for seeing things as they are. All right, so if not, you can never get your fruition. Now, the last section is very important. It's about how to reduce dishonesty. We touch on depletion. Resisting temptations takes effort, is it not? So when we are mentally depleted, our latent tendencies of lobha, dosa, and moha take over control because we do not have enough energy to resist them. So if you have to handle tricky situations that will test your moral muscles, try to schedule it in the morning when you have the most mental energy, or after you have meditated, because your mind will be at its clearest and calmness when your mindfulness is at the forefront. Now, Ajahn Sucitto gave a very good reminder that before you decide to do anything, all of you would be familiar with this slide already. Pause first and count to 10 seconds. 10 seconds give us ample time to know and recognize our intentions and to restrain ourselves from unwholesome speech and actions. Essentially, the 10 seconds pause gives us time to reflect, which brings us to a very important discourse, part of which was shown earlier. In the Abhalatika Rahulawada Sutta, the Buddha used the simile of the mirror to demonstrate the importance of constant reflection on our physical, verbal, and mental actions. Now, this reflection has to be done with mindfulness. That means careful, objective attention to future, present, and past actions. So we can always align ourselves with what is right and what is true. Okay. I've shown this last week. Constant reflection makes us examine our intentions underlying all the factors listed here, whether it is creativity, depletion, conflicts of interest, or the tendency to rationalize, etc., etc. But it is not enough, is it? Because it is not easy to maintain mindfulness throughout the day, and sometimes we just do not have the motivation to do so. The Buddha knew this too. In the Upajjhatthana Sutta, the Buddha gave 5 themes to be constantly reflected upon by men or women, by householder or monastic. This one serves as a moral reminder, is the last theme. Remember this? Karma means action. You are the owner of your actions and you receive the results of your actions. You are born of your actions, related to your actions, right? And supported by your actions. This is something we should remind ourselves every single day. Every single day. Knowing that when you do something bad, it will come back to bite you. Will make you put the brakes on whatever you do. You will not harm yourself and you will not harm others. The other useful moral reminders are the 5 precepts. All of you are very familiar with this. This is the list that we should do. Professor O'Reilly found more reminders are still no match for the negative influence that comes from observing dishonest behavior of others, which makes it extremely important to surround yourself with like-minded Dhamma friends. In fact, the Buddha gave several notable discourses on the importance of being close to admirable people and wise ones, the noble ones. The Buddha's definition of an admirable friend is one who is accomplished in faith, virtuous behavior, generosity, and wisdom. And this was also the advice given to a lay person. And he rated admirable friendship as the most significant factor in a monk's training. Right? Okay. So remember the Chinese idiom, right? 近朱者赤，近墨者黑, right? And the Buddha, admirable friendship is not just part of a monk's holy life, because you have others along the path with you. Ananda sees friendship as one half of a holy life and effort as the other half. But this is what Buddha says. Also, what the Buddha said applies to monastic friendship. What is good for the monks is good for us too. It is not easy to walk this path because you are actually swimming against the tide. Instead of craving, 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 you are letting go, letting go, letting go. Therefore, you need kalyanamittas to give you moral support, encourage you when you falter in your practice, to give you a gentle reminder when you are unmindful in your thoughts, speech, and actions. And let me tell you this, it is actually very pleasurable to actually sit down with your Dhamma friends and discuss Dhamma. Give feedback about your practice, ask for advice, and give advice. And Babs is doing a wonderful job to bring everyone together. Culture. Among all the factors under increasing dishonesty, this is one we appear to have the least control over, isn't it? There is this phrase that comes to my mind very frequently. Actually, I use it in my university yearbook when I wrote a sentence. This is the quote: "I did not make this world. I only try to live in it." Actually written by David Eddings in one of his books. The Chinese equivalent is this: 人在江湖，身不由己. Let me give you an example. You have to log in the number of hours you work on the case. What all your colleagues would do is to take the total amount of time they spent in the office or at home, minus 1 hour for lunch and 1 hour for dinner. But they do not minus the time spent on other breaks in between. So this essentially means overbilling clients is the norm. However, if you do not overbill, your overall billing rate will be about 20% lower than the rest of your colleagues. There are rumors of a retrenchment exercise, and the one with the lowest billing will be the first to go. So you are the sole breadwinner. Your wife, children, and parents count on you financially. So what do you do? So in situations like this, you weigh the pros and the cons, and then you decide to cheat, because not cheating may give rise to the consequences which you are not prepared to handle. Fine, but remember not to rationalize cheating. These are times when your Dhamma practice will be sorely tested. It is very difficult not to rationalize. It comes so naturally to us because no one wants to see themselves as dishonest. And rationalization is a very powerful form of subtle self-deception that is difficult to keep in check once you lack mindfulness. And it becomes even more valid when we know that others will benefit from your dishonesty. And I touched on this last week already. That is why we have to bear in mind what the Buddha taught. Constant attention to our thoughts, speech, and action in order to distinguish between skillful and unskillful action, between honesty and dishonesty, between truth and untruth. In the event that you are unable to refrain from unskillful actions, do not rationalize. Acknowledge that you are doing something dishonest. If it benefits others, acknowledge that too and leave it as that. Do not go any further. The moment you rationalize your dishonest actions, you stop being honest with yourself. Your life is not dictated by unskillful actions alone. There is so many other opportunities for us to do good. To share with others what we have, to show others loving kindness and compassion, and help in whatever way we can. Spend your time doing good to dilute the effects of whatever unskillful actions you have done and are doing right now. Hopefully sometime in the future, you will be able to make the choice to stop these unskillful deeds. Yes, life seems very unfair sometimes when you get the urge to look at the sky and ask, hey, why me? But count your blessings. It is our good karma to be born, right, and bred in the country that we are now, like Malaysia, to have a job, to live in relative affluence compared to many people in many other countries. So we are not driven to dishonesty by poverty or be negatively influenced by a high degree of corruption. And we have the good karma, is it not, to be able to learn the Dhamma? We have learned that it is not easy to be honest. It is not always the case of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So now let's review these 7 cases where people usually tell white lies. Please note, there is no perfect answer because there are so many variables at work in each situation. Remember these 3 points? This shows the preferences of the person whom you are dealing with. Knowing the preference will help you frame a reply. So case number 1, husband asks wife this. Now, assume Paul is very good looking and the wife finds him very attractive. How should the wife answer? So what do you think is Paul's preference? P1 and P2, right? Let's assume that you are the wife, but there are 3 ways to answer this truthfully. The first way is this. You are effectively telling your spouse that Paul is attractive, but you are not interested, not attracted. Easy, because it's the truth, isn't it? If you're really not attracted. Or you can say, yes, but this is the second way, but not fulfilling preference number 2. You are not assuring him when he wants assurance, so he will ask you some more. So the right answer would depend on the dynamics of each relationship, as each is different. What happens if you are really attracted and was fantasizing about Paul? You tell him the truth and it will cause conflict. Is the relationship strong enough to weather this? So you end up telling a white lie, and that is not good. So this is where you have to examine your intentions closely, be aware you are entertaining unwholesome thoughts. Make a commitment not to tell lies will help in such cases. So the next time when you go to a party and see someone attractive, don't oogle. Remind yourself that your spouse may ask you about this later. Think twice before pursuing naughty thoughts. Case number 2. You receive a really awful gift. How will you answer? So which one's the preference? You have thought about it? P1, right? So trying to show appreciation for a gift you do not like is very tough. Mental cultivation will help you a lot in this respect. Why? Because we all have a fault-finding mind. We judge, we criticize, and compare all the time. We are practicing right effort here when we cultivate our minds. And what we are doing here is tamping down the fault-finding mind, complaining mind, and when we do this habitually, what we have instead is a tendency to see something good in everything and in everyone. Now, everyone and everything has a redeeming quality. You just have to look at it. And having metta really helps. So when you open a present and it is not suitable for you, and the giver asks you whether you like it, you will not be scrambling for a diplomatic answer because you will be able to find something nice about the gift and tell the giver. For example, someone gives you that sofa for housewarming. If you really, really cannot find anything to say or find it too painful to do it this way, then it helps to remember some stock phrases which you can truthfully and accurately show your appreciation. Sam Harris recommended this reply. Case number 3. What's the preference? It's P3. As we have learned earlier, if the truth itself is painful to tell, there are often background truths that are not, and these can be communicated as well. So in this case, you can remind your friend of the traits she looks for in a partner and work it through with her on the compatibility issues. If, in a diplomatic manner, bring up examples of failed relationships because couples were incompatible. You can also encourage her to consult other friends. Adhere to the truth. Case number 4. All right, Ah Seng suspected wife cheated on him, but the wife had passed on. So this is a very difficult question. So what do you think is his preference? Number one, right? He just wants an honest answer. I would personally direct the conversation towards a discussion of a philosophical nature, something along this line. In fact, please do not end there. Get Ah Seng to participate in the discussion so he can find out why he asked the question and take it from there. But the objective of the discussion is to make him realize that he cannot change the past, whether good or bad, and that he would pay attention to the present and maintain a good state of mind. This is where your Dharma knowledge comes very useful. Case number 5, remember? What do you think is the preference? Number 3, never tell a white lie in such cases. Now, Sam Harris gave this example in his book. A woman was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, but her doctor told her that she did not have the condition. The husband knew the truth, but also decided not to tell his wife or the children so he would not upset them. Meanwhile, the woman went to the library and read up on her symptoms and diagnosed herself accurately. She then decided to not tell her husband or children because she did not want to upset them. 1 year later, the doctor told her that she has the disease and she confessed that she already knew it. Her husband confessed that he knew it too. So they each spent 1 whole year with a secret and without each other's support. The children found out about this later and felt sad about it, because the whole family deprived themselves of the opportunity to bond and support one another. It is always important to always let a person know his or her true medical condition so that there is time to sort out personal affairs, make necessary arrangements, for example, making a will, and to spend quality time with loved ones. Some doctors now practice what you call benevolent disclosure by telling a series of partial truths called short-legged lies towards eventual disclosure of the whole truth. This kind of disclosure is useful and sometimes even necessary for mentally fragile patients. The ideal approach is one that is frank but not blunt, where the doctor presents the reality of the situation without making the patient lose all hope. This is difficult and sometimes an impossible tightrope to walk. Case number 6. What do you think is the preference? Very likely P3. Now, your last thought at the time of the death carries with it karmic energy that may determine where you are reborn. Weighty karma comes first, and in the absence of which you have habitual karma, and without that, proximate karma comes into play. For proximate karma, it is what comes up in your mind immediately before death. So if you are dwelling on something that makes you happy or puts your mind in one of the 4 sublime states, your rebirth will be in a higher realm. So it is important to have a positive state of mind very near death, in case proximate karma dictates your next birth. Therefore, causing a person emotional distress at his deathbed is strongly discouraged. If you tell him the truth and he experiences pain, there is no guarantee it will affect his rebirth because weighty karma and habitual karma comes before proximate karma. But are you going to take the risk? If up to me, I will tell him a white lie and live with the karmic consequences. The next scenario, remember this? Of course, is P1 is a preference. But if you have to lie to save a life, please do so, because the wholesome act of saving a person's life far outweighs the unwholesome action of lying. Sometimes telling the truth can save a life. There is a story where the Buddha was in the forest when he perceived with a divine eye that there was an incident about to occur and planned how to respond to it. Okay, and a moment later, a terrified man ran past. The Buddha then stepped a few feet to the left and waited, and this is what happens. You read on your own. If we do not want our children to grow up thinking that white lives are justified, then we will have to change the way we talk to them. We can tell them this. Is it possible to stop telling white lies immediately after today? No. We tell white lies in the first place because we find it too difficult to tell the truth. So, to learn to tell the truth in a diplomatic way takes skill. That is why we use the term skillful actions as a label for wholesome thoughts, speech, and action. Committing unwholesome actions is very easy, but wholesome actions require skill. And skill comes only with patience, training, and experience. In conclusion, brothers and sisters, we should never intentionally tell a lie either to our advantage or to another person's advantage, or for the sake of any advantage whatsoever. Refrain even from white lies. Now, let us just recall some of the salient facts. Do constant reflection on past, present, and future actions. Give ourselves moral reminders as often as we can. Keep company with admirable friends and wise ones. Do not rationalize any acts of dishonesty. Do more good to dilute the effects of dishonest acts. In conclusion, brothers and sisters, we should never intentionally tell a lie, either to our advantage or to another person's advantage, or for the sake of any advantage whatsoever. Refrain even from white lies. Okay, so I repeat what I said earlier. The commitment to tell the truth will force us to change the way we communicate with other people, the way we respond to difficult situations, and the way we offer advice, praise, and comforting words to others. If we are mindful and always in tune with your intentions, it is impossible to deceive impulsively and thoughtlessly. I will just end with this. This world is not perfect, and the truth is sometimes hard to swallow. But at least with honesty, you know that the world you have created around you is as real as it gets, and you will definitely be on the path. All right, so this is the end of my Dhamma sharing. Okay. I'm open for Q&A. Yes.
Yes, brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, you can type in the chat box or unmute and ask directly. For those who are joining us via Facebook or YouTube, you can also post your questions, and then our Zoom administrator will copy and paste the questions into this
Yes.
Zoom chat.
You can unmute to ask me any questions, or you can type it out. No questions. So very clear. Okay, good.
Yeah, I think you have to give it some time first.
Yeah.
They may need some time to type the questions.
Yeah. Brother, can I take a short toilet break?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, I'm back.
Okay, we have two questions already.
Yes.
Okay, the first one, is it difficult not to tell lies in certain situations? So it is best that we just keep quiet, just keep it to yourself. At least the karma is lesser. Do you agree?
If you can't improve the silence, don't talk. Right? Really, you find it very difficult to tell the truth, then find another occasion. It also depends on whether the truth is very important to that person. And it also depends on your relationship with the person. So if you can give me a scenario, it would be better, then I can advise you better. Yeah. Because I don't want to generalize. Sometimes the truth will make a difference in the person's decision, then you have to tell it. Yeah.
Okay, maybe we go to the next one first. What if you are accused of wrongdoing without a chance to explain?
Now, if you're accused of wrongdoing, you will have to defend yourself, because especially when the wrongdoing affects your reputation, integrity. So I'm not understand what no chance to explain. Are you saying that someone spoke badly behind your back and there's a rumor about you which is not true? Well, you first and foremost have to find out who was the one who had the grouse with you and spread such a vicious rumor, and you may need to confront that person to sort things out. A lot of time, all these arises from wrong perception of a certain incident. And if you see, when somebody wants to kill you, right, you can run away and hide, but you're not solving the problem. So the only way to solve the problem is that if you change the person's mind about killing you, then you are really safe. So sometimes it's very good, you have to go to the source, find out who spread that rumor, and have a talk. 化解那个误会. Yeah.
I think in this case, is the accuser is the boss.
Oh, the accuser is the boss. Okay. Now, let the boss talk. Okay. He doesn't want you to explain. You can actually drop him an email and a note, because it's important to defend yourself. Okay. But then be very careful in your email. You don't write things like, you're a bloody asshole. How can you be like that? How can you? The moment you say you, your boss will be very defensive. So you may want to start the email back. A reference to a conversation. I thank you for sharing with me how you feel about this, but this is what happens. Okay? So if your boss ignores your email and still holds a certain opinion of you, then you may not want to continue to work for this boss, right? He's not a person who is very fair. He is not somebody who treats others with respect. And if he doesn't listen to you, even when you reach out to him, then I think that this is not a long-term place that you would like to be. Look for greener pastures.
Okay, next question. My boss told me she heard from other colleague that one of my staff not being responsive to the customer. My boss asked me to talk to my staff, but I do not know whether this is true. So I choose to keep quiet. Am I doing the right thing?
Well, you're hired to perform a job, and this is your boss. Your boss asks you to do something, so you do something. You are not here to judge whether the thing is true or not true. You do not know whether it's true or not true, but you're asked to convey a message, so you conveyed it. So you have to tell your colleague that the boss heard from someone exactly what happened. So let her say something. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but at least she has a chance to be heard, instead of having this seed of doubt growing in your boss's mind, isn't it? And in your mind. So remember, you are not telling any untruth. No one is asking you to tell an untruth, but your boss is asking you to find out what exactly happened. Yeah?
Okay. We have a question from YouTube. How would you describe the difference between spiritual friendship and normal mundane friendship? How should this be approached differently?
Okay. Mundane friendships are friends that you meet in a social network, like for example, social club, alumni, professional clubs, where your relationship is not on a spiritual level. Spiritual level at Kalyana Mitas are those who hold the same moral values, all right, and who knows the Dhamma, really honestly, all right? If you do something wrong, he won't come to you and tell you that, something bad happened, and this is fated, or you should take refuge in God, or that you should or she should pray to this deity or pray to that. So you want someone to be able to help you towards ennobling the mind. So someone who knows the Dhamma, then that person is considered Kalyana Mitra, someone with wisdom, generosity, all right, and someone who has morality. Okay, so that's the difference. I mean, I have mundane friends, usually professional circle. We talk about work, we talk about the legal circle. I serve in a lot of NGOs and charities, and these are friends. But spiritual friends is different. Like, for example, the community you have in Babs. I'm very impressed by Babs, and all this meeting, and you cultivate good friendships because you're both aligned on the teachings of the Dhamma, right? Yeah.
Okay, next question. Something to do, how to handle.
If you're a good friend, should we ask it honest with children? For example, when they ask us things you do not want them to know, then you tell them the truth. I'm not ready to talk about it yet. But you don't tell them an untruth to say it's not a problem. Mommy and daddy do not want to talk about it yet, we'll solve it. So I'm not sure, what is it that is the content, but always tell them the truth. You're not ready, you're not ready. It's something they do not need to know at this point of time. And something you got to trust us to work it out. So these will be the kind of answers you give to the kids.
Okay.
Good friend's spouse has an affair with other and you know it. Would you voluntarily tell your friend the truth or let it be? Now, I will be, here you got to be very skillful. I touched on this in my last week. You have to be very skillful because what you tell may lead them to divorce one another, and it may have implications on the children. And it's best that you hold back. Right? But during this time, you may want to call your friend out more frequently, just in case, all right, she discovers it. Or she discovers it, or she is suspicious and she needs someone to talk to. And you just want to give her that friendship, that support, emotional support. It's not very easy because I will choose not to say. It could very well be he's a very good husband at home. He's just sowing his wild oats, hoping not to get caught. I don't know. Or it could be that they were already having problems in the marriage and he was looking for a distraction. So really, really, it's so complicated, because especially when as a family, there are children involved, I would hold back. I would hold back. It's not so easy, and you do not want for you to spill the beans and your friend divorced the husband and they had to go through proceedings and so much stress, and you feel so guilty because you feel that you're responsible. That is not really nice. Okay, so yeah, I personally will hold back and just give emotional support and friendship. Question.
Yeah, from YouTube.
People, when will a lie be a white lie as opposed to outright lie? Oh, white lie is when you are not telling the truth because you do not want to hurt someone. Your intention is not a bad intention. Your intention is to make the other person feel good. Or your intention could be to make yourself likable to the person you're talking to. So white lie is still a deliberate lie, if you look at it. But the intention is not so evil. Yeah. Should one keep his silence by speaking the truth? It will hurt someone dear to him. It's how you tell it. That's when skill comes in. Okay. Like for example, like you cook something for your husband, right? And you say, "Is it nice?" If your husband says it's so terrible, you will not cook for him again. So if you cook something that's not so nice, you ask, "It's nice?" Your husband knows the Dhamma exercises right speech. He will speak kindly, right? He will speak like, "I really, really appreciate what you're doing for me. But, I think with some salt, it'll be better." You can always tell the truth, but tell it in a kind way. That's when skills come in. Buddha has certain guidelines that will be in the later series of talks on purifying the mind with relation to right speech. Normal gatherings tend to indulge in small talks and idle chatter. Should we try to avoid such gatherings? I can only tell you personally, I avoid gatherings. I don't like to go out to socialize. But sometimes I do have to, if I have to go for meetings, charity meetings. I sit on the board of 2 charities and the board of 2 NGOs. So I need to go. So it's not a gathering. You go for work. Is it necessary for work? But if on a Friday night, you find that you're very bored and you want to go for gatherings because you just want to make friends, you watch your mental space. Is it because it comes from mind or restlessness? Because Friday night must go out, so I must go for gatherings because I like to be entertained and I like to talk. So it's really, what is your goal in life? If your goal in life is to be the most popular guy in Johor, most popular guy in your neighborhood, then of course you have to go for gathering. But if your goal in life is to walk the Noble Eightfold Path, to have the higher happiness, experience the high happiness of peace and tranquility, right? So on a Friday night, you may want to spend some time with your family, potter around doing sports or exercises or any hobbies that will anchor the mind to the here and now. Not to like stay at home and drink alcohol and gamble, play mahjong or whatever. I'm saying choose activities that can help to quieten down the mind, that will help and facilitate you in your mental cultivation. Do I make sense? After you practice for a while and after you meditate for a while, right, your mind won't keep going out. See something, chase for it. Hear something, chase for it. You won't pursue retail therapy that often. After a while, your mind settles. You find that you just sit at home, also very happy. Do something simple, also very happy. Right? So it really depends on your goal. If your goal is to be a better husband, better father, better wife, better, you spend time. What's your intention? It's very important. Yeah. So we examine that.
Yeah. A question from.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would seem to me that you're saying it's important to find work-life situation in which the 5 precepts can be most easily practiced. Can you talk about how to make good choices in that regard? Okay, let's say, for example, I'm a lawyer. Okay, I don't kill, I don't steal. Okay, no sexual misconduct. You don't have to tell lie. It's a choice. All this is choice, huh? And I don't have to entertain to drink. I mean, we have to entertain clients, but I'll always say, I don't want to go, I don't drink. So I no need to go, other partners go. So you can always make a choice. So you look at your profession. In almost all profession, I think you don't really have to breach the 5 precepts, unless, of course, you are a butcher, all right? You're a fisherman, then there's killing involved. But or then you say, like, for example, the banking circle, right? Where they have to drink with customer, and drinking is so necessary. But as I said, you also have a choice to drink mocktail, or to say that, I know somebody who a partner of mine who has to entertain clients, and because he speaks very good Mandarin, he has to entertain clients from China, and they feel that, you know, they get to bond through drinks, right? And he always says this, I'm sorry, I have an allergy to alcohol. Okay, is it the truth? He says it's the truth because he goes to a doctor and discusses with the doctor all the things about the downside of drinking alcohol. It is an antiseptic, right? It is a solvent. How can it be good for the kidneys? And of course, and the liver. The doctor says, of course, it is not good for your body. All right. In that case, can you say that I have an allergy because it affects my liver? And the doctor says yes. So if that's the case, he's been using the standard line. I'm sorry, I can't drink because I'm allergic. And that's it, got out of it. You keep to the 5 precepts. We always say to terminally ill patients, you will be okay. You will be fine. Where we don't even know if they will make it. So it is to consider encouragement or lies. That is a lie, isn't it? But because that person is terminally ill, all right? And remember, we want to put the person's mind in a very good state because the proximate karma may be relevant in that case. So for me, I will bear with the consequences, and I will probably tell a white lie. Everything is fine. You're okay. Everybody around you is okay. But try not to. I mean, if she's terminally ill, she also probably will know she's not okay, right? So why don't you place her mind in a better place by reminding her of all the good that she has done, by telling her what a wonderful person she is, by telling her that, you know, just rest, settle, put your mind at peace, and, you know, and you will see the light. You will be reborn again in a better realm. It really depends also on the person's religion. So the intention is to put the patient's mind in a good mental space. Okay, so it's a good intention. May involve telling a bit of white lie. Yes. Okay. I hope I answered your question. The 6 scenarios that I had used earlier in the talk are very common, where white lies are told. Yes. Okay. Any other? Brother Danny, did I answer the questions well? Do I need to elaborate on anything?
No, you're doing fine.
Okay.
Thanks. Brothers and sisters, any other questions? We can still take one last question, one final question for this morning.
I've practiced as a lawyer for 30 years, and a lot of people, they have this assumption that lawyers do lie. But no, I mean, I choose to practice my profession in accordance with the Noble Eightfold Path. And I don't lie. I don't act for clients who want me to lie. All right? And I would never give evidence from the bar. And I can tell you, my practice has not been affected at all. In fact, yeah, because it goes to your integrity, it goes into your character. And clients do trust you because you tell clients the truth. If a client comes to me and say, oh, I want to claim 100% of this matrimonial asset because my husband did this and this. If I am a lawyer who just want to earn money, I will say, no problem, we'll do our best to get it for you. Because whether the client gets what she wants or not in court is the decision of the judge. So you can always blame it on the judge. You're just doing your job. You still get paid according to time. But I choose not to practice that way. I will tell the client the truth. Okay, the law is like this. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do. All right, so to speak kindly, but always based on truth.
Yeah, thank you. I think the bottom line is we always have a choice, right?
Yes, free will.
Yeah.
Karma is free will, a choice. No one dictates. So with the knowledge of the Dhamma, you have this confidence that your life is really what your mind makes it out to be. Yeah, you are in control.
Okay.
So we shall end. Shall I do dedication of merits?
Yes, please.
Okay, brothers and sisters, I can just put your hands and Ajali. Okay, dedication of merits. Okay, by the grace of this merit that I have acquired, may I never associate with the foolish, but only the wise up to the time I attain final happiness. And by the grace of whatever merits that I have acquired, may these be helpful to eradicate the defilements and overcome all suffering. And may all the merits I have accumulated today be shared with my departed relatives. May they be well and happy, and may they continue in the path towards the eradication of all suffering. And by the power of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, may all the deities protect me. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.